One of the major trends related to this area is the convergence of technologies for media consumption. Account for this trend with reference to relevant technologies, providing examples of specific hardware. Now, this is the second time that you had the keyword account for, all right? So I'm going to mention it again because it was so disastrously done, right? Account for means account for the boiling water that's in the kettle in my kitchen when I wake up in the morning, okay? Account for that. Well, account for means provide the reasons, the causes for how this happened, right? So I've got electricity in my house and I wanted to make a cup of tea. So that's the account for, right? That's my reasoning. It would not be accounting for if I said, now that I've got a cup of tea, a kettle of boiling water, I can do X, Y, Z, right? So you've got your kettle of boiling water in the middle, right? Account for means give me the causes that led to that. Most people said, well, now that you've got this thing, what can you do with it, okay? Now that we've got all this convergence of technology, what are the results, okay? So you totally missed the question. And even though there were, how many marks on it? There were 4 marks on it. A lot of people got like a maximum of 1 or 2 because you just missed the point of the question. Right. So what are some of the answers which I was expecting? Things like network connectivity. Network connectivity, okay? How could we get this convergence of technologies? Like, say, people using their phones, which are for calling people, right? How can they use it for things that are traditionally on a computer, like sending emails and that kind of thing? Well, because your phone can get on the internet, right? So network connectivity is being built into all kinds of devices, and the lowering prices of modem hardware and even the increasing prevalence of like cheap broadband and cheap cellular data. It's really cheap. Who's got a mobile phone or whatever with cellular data and mobile data? Anyone? How much does it cost, like per month, roughly? 30? Yeah. Is that with included calls and that kind of thing? Yeah. Is that about the same, roughly? Cheaper, more expensive? 20? Yeah. I suppose it depends on who got your handset with it and how much calls you've got. Okay. Now $20 a month. That's really cheap for what you guys. It's like I can communicate with the entire world from this thing that's in my hand anytime I like, right? So really, really cheap. Students who are 15 years old can do it. So a lot of people can do it, right? So that's how. Remember, I'm trying to account for this trend. This big trend. How is it possible? So, network connectivity, right? And that allows phones and gaming consoles to become media consumption platforms. Media consumption platforms, right? So you can say things like Android, iOS, Windows Phone. Those are actual examples, right? Account for this trend with reference to relevant technologies. So you got to say what they are, right? And if you said gaming consoles, well, you got to name them, right? Say PlayStation or Xbox or whatever. So network connectivity is my first point. Secondly, miniaturization. What does that mean? Just a big fancy word, miniaturization. Ironically, it's a big word. What does it mean? Miniaturization. I have no idea how it's spelled. It's something like that. Yeah, that's pretty close. It means I can make big things small. Big things small. You guys have seen the pictures, right? Of how big computers used to be. They used to be the size of the room we're in, right? And now they're really tiny. They're handheld, or they're this little box in your living room, right? So, miniaturization of what? Let's be a little more specific. Powerful processors, right? Really, really powerful CPUs. You can build very small, okay? Graphics cards. High-performance screens, right? I don't know if you remember, when the iPhone 4 was released, there was a massive press thing about the whole Retina display thing, right? So you need to say specific things. Now, probably you don't know how to spell this, so... these, right, these are specific... These are specific display technologies, and we can make them really, really small, and we can make them really, really high quality, right? So this allows for the convergence trend. Just picture this, okay? Imagine if we have network connectivity in all of our little devices, right? But our little devices have really, really sucky screens. Who's going to want to play games on it? Who's going to want to watch YouTube videos or community channel, or whoever you watch YouTube videos of? Or, you know, good-looking British twins or whoever. If your screen doesn't put out a good image, right? So these kinds of things make the trend possible. Yeah? So you can really see how this technology sort of direction accounts for this trend. Okay, let me give you another one. Connectivity, miniaturization, that's making things small, but some things are getting big. Have a look at the screen you're sitting in front of, right? The screens that all of you are sitting in front of. Those are really quite large compared to the first computer screen I had. It was a 13-inch cube thing, right? And you could beat people to death with it. It was hilarious. So it was a really tiny screen. So when you used it, you literally was sort of like hunched up, and even there was like 8 colors on the screen, not 16.7 million. Okay. So what's my point? This is number 3. The increasing size of displays for things like PCs, right? And the rising quality of, even computer sound systems, right? You can get a really nice set of speakers for your PC now. It enables desktops and even to an extent laptops to compete with home cinema systems. People are watching stuff on YouTube and they're like, I don't need to watch it on TV. And there isn't the argument like, well, but on TV it looks better. Well, maybe, but maybe not. It might look bigger, but it's pretty big on the computer screen already, right? Like, how many people idle away their hours on YouTube because their computer screens are good enough to watch TV shows and, other kinds of channels on, right? Okay, let's see, I got a few more. Actually, let me come back to the network connectivity one. Let's put a subpoint under here. Now, the network connectivity one is important because it allowed the second screen phenomenon to rise. Second screen. Now, you can put that in quote marks if you like. Who's heard of second screen before? Second screen? Yeah, maybe. Okay, so this is something you should have picked up in your research, right? Second screen is about, I don't know if you were watching, say, The Voice. Who watched The Voice? I watched The Voice. Okay, I'm too old, right? Yeah, luckily it was good music. I thought it was good music, for the most part. Now, one of the things they had was they had an official iPhone, iPad app, right? And what they did was they encouraged you to look at it and use it while you were watching and during the ad breaks, right? I don't know how the people who bought ads for The Voice felt about that, but anyway. So the second screen phenomenon is I'm sitting there in front of my TV, right? But I've got this network connected device in my lap, and I'm on Twitter or whatever, or I'm watching video backstage interviews, that kind of thing, while my TV is going, okay? Now that's a network connectivity thing, again, and that's convergence. Am I watching TV or am I on the internet? Well, I'm both. That's what convergence means, right? So you got tablets and smartphones, and they're providing interactivity and social connections. So that's a new kind of trend, right? So you could say the Voice app. That's an example of this. Okay? What else? Let's see. Talking about now this one here. Okay, sorry, this last one. I talked about convergence, people going onto their computers to watch TV. You see how convergence is related to this, right? One of the other things that accounts for that is that new platforms like YouTube, like Hulu, those kinds of things, they're prioritizing content on demand. There's the key phrase. Content on demand, right? Rather than scheduled programming. Rather than I've got to turn up at 7 p.m. so I can watch my show, okay? It's more like, look, I really like this show and I'm subscribed to it and it comes on when I like, and then I can watch it whenever, okay? I can watch it at 11 p.m. at night when everyone's gone to bed and that kind of thing if I like, right? So, yes, good example. So, the increasing size of screens or the quality of screens, right? That allows us to get content on demand in a very, sort of viewer-pleasing fashion, okay? Okay, now let's see, what else have we got? Okay, let me read this one for you. This is kind of like a miniaturization issue, which is that things which used to take up lots of space can now be put all into one device. Okay, so from an end user perspective, right? There's a convenience aspect. When things are small, you can have it all in one device. So here's my sub point under convenience, right? Having less devices and embedding social media into those devices, it's a really compelling user experience, okay? Really compelling. So what that means is, rather than, I've got two things. I watch TV and then I go and talk to people, which is two separate things about the TV show I enjoy, right? Now you're on YouTube or you're on Facebook and you're watching that video and then you comment right away, okay? My wife, she really enjoys Winners and Losers, okay? I don't know, it's a pretty old TV show. But it's, not old in terms of, like, it was a long time ago. It's on now, but it's for older people. Anyway, but the thing is, what she does is at the end of every show, she's always going on Facebook and watching the preview for the next week's clip, and then talking about to everyone on Facebook about, oh, I can't believe this character did that. No, can you believe they died, and so on and so forth. Okay, warning. So it's a really compelling user experience having it all in the one place. Or she does it on her phone. She's like, and she can watch next week's preview, and she can talk to people about what the TV show is doing. Okay. So that's really interesting. So you're incorporating lots of different services into one device, and that's part of miniaturization.